David, I'm a very sad man today. Why is it I'm sad, you ask? I think you know. I'm sad because you're leaving us. After Kayla's wedding on Saturday, I was informed that we would be having a surprise going away party for you on Sunday night. And I was pleased that I would get to say goodbye in such a revelrous way. But I was forgetting that by the time your party started, I would be gone from St. John's. See, I had another wedding to attend out here in Cornerbrook, and by the time I get back, you'll be gone. It sucks! You know what else sucks is Sony's stupid anti-shake. I'm not shaking the camera. The camera's on a freaking tripod. Stop it! Sorry, David, I'm not mad at you. Funny story about the wedding out here, actually. I got in town here at about 11 o'clock on Sunday night, and as I was getting ready to go to bed, I realized that I had no idea where the wedding was, what time the wedding was, and I couldn't check my invitation because I had left it in St. John's. And as far as I knew, I didn't know anyone else who was attending this wedding. That's when I relearned the definition of the word panic. It ended up working out. I instant messaged a friend who gave me the phone number to the boyfriend of another friend who was going to the wedding. So at 7:30 I called this stranger and I got all the details for the wedding and it was great. But like I said, Sunday night, panic. That's a story, but it's not what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about two things. One thing happened during the wedding, and the other thing happened during the break in between the ceremony and the reception when I had to drive somewhere and I was listening to the radio. The first thing is the name of the groom. Alexandre. I think. See, that's the problem. He is from Portugal, and he's moved over here, and so he has a Portuguese name. He said that he's okay being called Alexander before, but that sometimes makes me sad. It's much like our international student friends at Memorial University, who either take on Western names or will allow the mangling of their native names by English speakers. I don't want to mangle names. Names are so basic, and they're who you are. So I'd like to put the extra effort into pronouncing it. But I guess that's just the trouble of taking words and names from other languages, is that they end up getting mangled. Which brings me to my second part. After the ceremony, I just went down the road to visit my father at his office because it was only a stone's throw away and I had an hour and a half to kill. While I was there, I was complaining about radio. Dad pointed out that CBC radio doesn't talk down to its listeners and I should be listening to CBC anyways. Then I borrowed Dad's car because I had an errand to run. So I turned on CBC radio and I began to listen. And I tuned in halfway through an interview with John Adams. I don't know if you know who John Adams is, but he's an American composer. He actually wrote the very first opera that I ever saw, which is Dr. Atomic, which deals with the construction of the first atomic bomb. But before that, he wrote an opera called Nixon in China. During the interview, he makes reference to Nixon's plane landing in Peking. It occurs to me now that I might have ranted about this to you before, but I will continue nonetheless. During the interview, as an aside, he kind of says, of course, Beijing used to be called Peking, which is false. Beijing has never been called Peking. The only people who have ever called Beijing Peking are English speakers. And it's because of two duty heads named Wade and Giles. Here's the story as my Chinese philosophy professor once put it. As an aside, that isn't my Chinese professor of philosophy, that's my professor of Chinese philosophy. So one night, Wade and Giles realized that there was no Latinization scheme for the Chinese language. Wade and Giles decided to take it upon themselves to Latinize Chinese. Wade and Giles got horribly drunk. Wade and Giles decided that B's should be written as T's, that J's should be written as K's, that D's should be written as T's, and about a dozen other stupid Latinizations. What a mess! If B's are P's and J's are K's, Beijing becomes Peking. Doufu becomes tofu. The Chinese text the Tao Te Ching becomes the Tao Te Ching. Oh yeah, J's are K's, but J's are also CH's. I'm sure it makes sense to linguists, and Wade and Giles were both linguists. I think. I'm pretty sure they were both ambassadors from England to China a long time ago. And I think they both kind of knew linguistics. I mean, you would want to if you were an ambassador. But yeah. What a mess! So, I don't really have a point here. I mean, I'm just complaining, which is admittedly something that I do a lot of. Portuguese names are hard to pronounce, but I don't want to mispronounce them, so I'm going to put the effort into it. But not everyone will, and I'm not necessarily bothered by that. I mean, there are other things that other people find very, very interesting that I don't particularly care about. I'll try to respect those things, but I'm not going to kill myself over them. Which is why Wade-Giles is so bothering. Sure, it might make sense to linguists, but not everybody's a linguist, and people are going to need to say the name of the capital of China someday. So when they read it and they see it spelt P-E-K-I-N-G, oh yeah, that's Peking. Why would they think any different? I'm pretty sure China has switched over to Pinyin as its official Latinization scheme, which makes a lot more sense. Beijing, for example, gets written as Beijing. Anyhow, David, have fun at Acadia University. Do well with your masters. I have to admit that for all the crap I gave you about sending me your thesis so late, I still am working on reading it. Sorry, I have no excuses. I can make one up. I recently suffered head trauma that left me illiterate. Stupid anti-shake camera. But yes, don't forget to write. I hope you keep in contact, and I'll keep you posted about this whole Nepal thing. Apparently Nepal is very linguistically diverse, with something like 80 different languages being spoken by Nepalese citizens, but I'm not a linguist, and I don't speak a single one of those 80 languages, so I probably won't notice the difference. But you'll be the first to know if I do. Take it easy, David. DMP! Alright, so I'm just editing now, and these have been trending towards getting longer. I swear to you, I'm going to reverse that trend. They are going to start getting shorter. I am so sorry for trying to steal so much of your life. Now I have to upload this, which is going to take literally 5 hours.